On August 1st, Governor Kathy Hochul announced that the Interborough Express project has entered the engineering and design phase, marking major progress for the project. For those who don't know, the Interborough Express, or IBX for short, is a 40-mile-long light rail line between Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, and Jackson Heights, Queens. It will utilize the LIRR's Bay Ridge branch, a rail line currently used only by freight trains. In April, $2.75 billion was secured for the IBX as part of the MTA's 2025 to 2029 capital plan. So now that the IBX is a step closer to reality, I think it is time to talk about potential arrangements for the current section of the project between Bay Ridge and Jackson Heights, as well as potential extensions on both ends of the line. The IBX terminates at Jackson Heights, Queens to the north, with connections available to the E, F, M, R, and 7 trains. But since the proposed location of the IBX station is at Roosevelt Avenue between 70th and 72nd Streets, approximately a 4-minute walk will be needed to transfer to the subway lines mentioned above. To make this transfer more seamless, a new tunnel along 73rd or 74th Street with the IBX station at the intersection with Roosevelt Avenue and Broadway will be ideal. Yes, this won't be cheap, but it will make the transfer between the IBX, the subway, and the buses at the Roosevelt Avenue complex much easier. Besides Roosevelt Avenue, I think other connections should also be advanced. Transfers between the subway and the IBX should be in system at stations that are possible. Some stations should even be considered for a cross-platform transfer, such as 8th Avenue and Metropolitan Avenue. For ones that are a certain distance away, a passageway should be built to connect them. The IBX crosses the LIRR Main Line and Port Washington branch, south of Queens Boulevard, but all of them do not have stations here. A transfer point between the IBX and both the LIRR Main Line and Port Washington branch at this location could potentially open up better connections between neighborhoods along the IBX and those on the LIRR. However, this location is not far from Woodside to the west and Elmhurst, a former LIRR station that is proposed to be reopened to the east, so I am not sure if there is enough demand to support a new station here. But I think we should look into it through a study. The IBX crosses the Lower Montauk branch, another LIRR freight line at Fresh Pond Junction. The MTA has done studies in the past to study using that corridor for passenger service. Even though nothing went forward, preserving for future connections should be considered in the IBX project. Either preserve space for a station at Fresh Pond Junction for potential transfers, or track connections for potential through service in the future, or both. Though I want to emphasize that we shouldn't spend too much on this, as we don't know if the Lower Montauk branch will ever be used for passenger service. But it will be smart to have some simple, low-cost provisions, so if it does happen, a transfer and connection can be built. Now that we have finished talking about advancements to the existing portion of that line, let's talk about potential extensions of the IBX. One popular plan is to extend the IBX to LaGuardia Airport. Like I said in my previous LaGuardia Airport transit video, an IBX extension to LaGuardia Airport should be a supplement to the Astoria line extension. I will still use the alignment proposed in that video, which the IBX will turn onto Astoria Boulevard before turning north towards the airport. This alignment is chosen to follow FAA regulations and avoid underground water pipes in the area. Terminal A will be served by shuttle buses from a station at 82nd Street, while the other two terminals will get a dedicated station under them. Another popular plan is to extend the IBX to the Bronx. There are many variants of how the line should go. Many may suggest using the Hellgate Bridge. However, the bridge already carries Amtrak's Northeast Corridor, and in the future, the Penn Station access of the Metro-North Railroad, so capacity will be limited on the bridge for the IBX. Other plans I've seen involves a new dedicated bridge or tunnel to the Bronx. Even though the price tag for a new tunnel or bridge won't be cheap, it will be better than spending money to run the IBX on the Hellgate Bridge and end up with no room for more trains a few years later. One idea that caught my attention is a proposal by Van Schnickeragan. His plan involves one branch to LaGuardia Airport, The other branch, instead of extending to the Bronx, will be to Uptown Manhattan via a new dedicated bridge. I think this is an interesting alignment and should be one of the alternatives to be studied. Another extension that people have been talking about is to extend the IBX to Staten Island. This extension will require a new tunnel under the Narrows to reach Staten Island. I used to be a fan of this proposal, but now I lean towards a branch of the 4th Avenue line south of 59th Street or an extension from Bay Ridge 95th Street to Staten Island. I am not completely against that idea, but if we only had money to build a 2-track tunnel, I would send the subway to Staten Island first. As an alternative for those traveling from Staten Island to destinations along the IBX, I would probably consider creating a better transfer between the Staten Island subway and the IBX. In this case, build the Staten Island subway as a branch off the 4th Avenue line from south of 59th Street. A station at Shore Road between 2nd and 4th Avenue will be built for the Staten Island subway and the IBX, with a cross-platform transfer between the two. Staten Island riders going to points along the IBX can make a seamless transfer to continue their journey. Anyways, everything I said above is for when a subway gets built to Staten Island, which I don't see happening anytime soon. For now, I would go for a passageway between Bay Ridge Avenue on the R and 4th Avenue on the IBX, as adding a station on the 4th Avenue line at the IBX station will make stops too close to each other. Maybe build provisions for a cross-platform transfer at 4th Avenue. If the Staten Island subway gets built in the future, those provisions will come in handy. The last extension proposal is less popular, but I think it should be under consideration, and it is to extend the IBX from Brooklyn Army Terminal and run it along the waterfront. The Brooklyn waterfront is currently under a massive transformation to add housing and more development. An IBX extension along the waterfront will accommodate the travel demands of the growing population. The extension can take multiple forms. Ending it at a subway station for better connections may be the most ideal. As you can see, the IBX has great potential for advancements to existing segments and possible extensions. As the project moves into the engineering and design phase, I hope some of the advancements I mentioned could be integrated to make the project even better, and the extensions could be considered some time in the future. What are your thoughts on the advancements and extensions I proposed for the IBX? Share with me in the comments below. I also talked about other transit extensions in the New York metro area in this playlist. Feel free to check it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in that playlist.